In this video, I'm going to show you a really simple but practical example with NiFi. As you know, NiFi is an automation tool, but it's a bit different from regular automations we see these days like Make.com or N8N. It's more for data processing and data engineering purposes. This video is not about how to set up NiFi, and I assume that you have NiFi already up and running on your local machine. You can find all the code configurations and instructions I use in this video in the description. So first, let me show you a quick demo to see what we're going to do in this video, and then after that I'll show you how to implement this workflow. Let's get started. So as you can see here, I have my workflow in NiFi, and here I have a Python code. Let me open it. It's makedata.py, and basically it generates some fake data, like, let me show it to you, 20,000 rows in every file. So here, every 6 seconds, it's going to create a new CSV file with 20,000 rows of information. These are some fake data, so it doesn't matter if it's real data or not. But what is important here is these two columns. First of all, this quantity ordered and price each. Because based on these two, we're going to calculate the revenue for each row based on these two lines. So here, if I try to run this code, make.py, it's going to generate one file every 6 seconds. Now if I kill this and go to data folder here, it's going to generate the data here. Let me open this. Let's make sure that we have killed the workflow here. Okay. Now I have this data folder here. I just need to run my code again. So here is the data getting generated real time. Now what we want to do, we want to calculate revenue column based on the other two columns right away when we get the new file. This is where NiFi can help us to do this. So NiFi can watch this folder for us. As soon as there is a new file, it can does the process, does the calculation, and then save the output in another folder. So let me stop this. And here's the another folder I have. It's data updated. Let me open this one and let me select and remove all of these things. Okay, now it's an empty folder. So we have some CSV files already here. So as soon as we start NiFi workflow, it's gonna first of all do the processing for all of these and move them to the new folder, data updated. So let's run the workflow here. Simply I can run this, and as you can see, instantly you see all the files here. If I click on one of these, it's gonna show me the revenue column just added to this CSV file. And it's basically quantity order multiplied by price each. Now let me run the code for generating data. Now here we're gonna get a new CSV file here, and then NiFi will do the processing right away. Actually, there is an interval for NiFi to do the processing. It's like 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds or 5 seconds, it's gonna look at this folder and then do the processing and then move everything to data updated folder. So now let's wait a little bit. And as you can see, now it did the processing for all of the files here. So as you can see, as soon as we have a new file here, it does the processing and then creates the new file here in data updated folder. So this is the flow we want to implement. Let's look at the resulted CSV file. So here we have revenue column here. If I try to stop the flow, come back here and generate files. If I open one of these, you can see there is no revenue column here. Now it's time to implement the flow from scratch. I have the flow already here, so I'm gonna create another one and then remove the initial flow. So what we need to do, we need to add some processors. So the very first processor we need is get file. Add it here. And the very first thing you need to change is input directory. So here, if I go to data, here's the address for my data directory. And I guess that should be for get file processor. That easy. Now the next processor we need to have is query record. With query record, basically we can write SQL queries and fetch data and behave with data like we're fetching from database. So query record. Now here we want to have record reader and record writer. Record reader basically is for getting data from get file, and then record writer is preparing the data to pass it to the next processor. So create new service, and we want CSV reader here. And for record writer, we want CSV record set writer. Apply. Now what we want to do, we come back here, click on these three dots here and go to service. As you can see, we already have two similar services, but these two new services are disabled. So we need to enable them. But first, let's modify them a little bit to make sure it does what we want. So one thing we need to change here is change this to true. Basically, we want it to use the first row as the header in our CSV file. So we set it true. And I guess that should be all we want to do here for now. Now let's modify this one. Here, do not write a schema, inherit record a schema. Pay attention to these parameters to have the same thing. This also looks good enough. One thing we can do to make sure that the configuration is good enough, we can go to edit and then just click on this verification icon. So perform validation. Looks good enough. So now let's enable them. And that should be all. Now let's verify this query record processor as well. And it also looks good. Now we need to connect get file to query record basically. We just need to click on this and drag and drop here. So this is good enough. We double click on this and then go to relationships. What it says that basically all files are routed to success. It means that as soon as it reads the files, it's going to consider it as success. So there's nothing we want to do here. And when it's success, reading all the files successfully, it's going to pass it to the next processor, which is query record. Now one important thing we need to do here in query record, after setting CSV reader and CSV record set writer, is basically adding our query. So we just need to add a new property. We can call it revenue. And then we paste our SQL query. So basically it says that we want all the columns plus a new column here, which is named as revenue. Revenue is basically price, each multiplying by quantity order. So that gives us the revenue. It's a really simple SQL query, and we want to get the data from flow file. And that's it for this. Apply. And then the final processor would be put file. Basically, with put file, we can save our data as CSV files. Put file. Here we don't have that many configurations. The most important one is directory. So here again, I come to another folder, get the path for that, and then just paste it here. And that should be all. Now we need to connect these two together. So we want to have these relationships in case we have revenue. So here, back to query record in relationships tab, we want to terminate, or in some cases we want to log that what's going on, why it doesn't proceed. In those cases we attach it to another processor for logging, but in this example we just want to terminate the whole flow when there is something wrong. So when it's failure or when it's just original data, we terminate. Otherwise it goes to the next processor. And also here we don't have any processor after this, so we terminate whether it's failure or success. Okay, now we can start testing this. Let me select these three blocks because I don't want to run two similar flows here, so I can hold Shift and select these blocks. And I can just run these. Let's try to run our Python script for generating data. Python make data. And as you can see, if I try to remove all of these, it works fine apparently. So we have this revenue column here. That's simple. You can have this powerful flow with NiFi, and it's amazing when it comes to big data and when you want to do the processing real time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next video, take care.